Hi, in this video we are going to discuss about one of the main and most commonly used power semiconductor devices, that is SCR, Silicon Controlled Rectifier. It is one of the main switching device under thyristor family. Therefore, it is also called as phase controlled thyristor. Before discussing its features and operation, let us discuss its history. Yes, it was invented in the year 1956 at Bell Laboratories, which is located in New Jersey, USA, and all around the world. It was not an individual invention. It was initiated by William Shockley in 1950 and developed by power engineers of Bell Laboratories. Yes, of course. IEEE has recognized this invention as historic milestone in power electronics. The word thyristor came from thyratron and transistor, because it has features of transistor and thyratron. Transistor, we are all aware of it. It is a current control device, and the thyratron is a gas filled tube used before the invention of thyristor as a high power electrical switch. Okay, now we will start its construction features and operation. So as shown in the figure, thyristor is a 4-layer semiconductor device of PN-PN structure, which forms 3 PN junctions, namely J1, J2 and J3. This is the circuit symbol of thyristor. It has 3 terminals: anode, cathode, gate. It is used as a bistable switching device. It operates from non-conducting state to conducting state. This change in state is achieved by applying gate current through the gate terminal. Hence, it is called as current controlled device. Thyristors are available up to 5000 volt, 3600 ampere with 100 to 400 microsecond of switching frequency. This is the cross-sectional view of thyristor's construction. Here I have shown the doping concentration for all layer of semiconductors. So this is the substrate. On the substrate, heavily doped p-type, which is about 10 power 19 per centimeter cube, is developed, over which lightly doped p-type and then lightly doped n-type, followed by p-type and n-type, which all together forms PN-PN structure. So these are all the thickness of each layers. Now we will move on to its operation. Thyristor is operated in 3 operating modes: forward blocking mode, forward conduction mode, reverse blocking mode. Okay, first forward blocking mode. When the anode is connected to positive with respect to cathode and gate terminal is kept open, the junctions J1 and J3 are forward biased and the junction J2 is reverse biased, due to which there is no conduction in the device, only a small leakage current will flows through the device. Therefore, at this condition, the silicon control rectifier is said to be forward blocking mode condition. The circuit diagram is shown here. The positive terminal of the battery is given to anode, negative terminal of the battery is given to cathode, and gate terminal is kept open. So this one is Vk, voltage across anode and cathode. If Vk, that is voltage between anode and cathode, is increased to a large value, then avalanche breakdown will occur in the reverse biased junction J2, like reverse biased PN junction diode, already know. The voltage at which this phenomena occurs is called the forward breakdown voltage, VBO. Next, second one, forward conduction mode. When the anode is made positive with respect to cathode and with the presence of gate supply. In previous case, gate supply is open. In this case, we are applying gate supply. Now the load current flows through the device because gate supply vanishes the depletion region in the junction J2 and starts conduction, provided anode current, that is load current, should be greater than that of latching current. In upcoming slides, we will discuss what is meant by latching current. Right? Now ICR is said to be in forward conduction mode. This is the normal operating condition for ICR. The biasing in the circuit diagram and all shown here. Okay, next, reverse blocking. When anode is made negative with respect to cathode, as shown in the figure, then junction J1 and J3 are reverse biased and junction J2 is forward biased. Now, if the gate supply is applied, it won't vanish the depletion region in J1 and J3. Hence, irrespective of gate supply, SCR is said to be in reverse blocking mode. Like reverse biased PN junction diode, here also there is a possibility of reverse breakdown. Circuit diagram is shown here. here we can able to follow the all modes of operation and start in the static characteristics or VI characteristics. So this is the forward blocking mode region. This is forward conduction region. The transformation between forward blocking mode to forward conduction mode takes place when gate supply IG, IG1, IG2 is applied. So depending upon the gate supply strength, there is a value of gate current. It will vary the breakdown voltage as shown here. If the IG2 is very high, it will suddenly, so at very minimum value of VA, it will suddenly change out to forward blocking mode to forward conduction mode. Therefore, where strength of gate current will change the forward blocking mode to conduction mode as quick as possible. Similarly, if your SCR is reverse biased, irrespective of gate supply, your thyristor will be in reverse blocking mode. So as I said earlier, so this reverse blocking mode will break down when your reverse applied voltage is beyond VBR. So as like diode, reverse bias diode. Okay, it is the important terminology in thyristor. Latching current. Even if we done all the favorable conditions to turn on the SCR, it will not get turned on until the anode current has a certain minimum value. That minimum current is called as latching current. Simply, it is a minimum current required to turn on the forward biased thyristor even if the gate supply is present. Usually a latching current is greater than the holding current. Okay. Next, holding current. So after an SCR has been switched to the on state, a certain minimum value of anode current is required to maintain the thyristor in on state. Irrespective of the gate supply, if the anode current is reduced below the critical holding current, thyristor cannot maintain the current through it and turns it off. So irrespective of gate supply, your thyristor will turn off. From this, it is clear that thyristor is turned on, then gate supply or gate loses its controlling capability. Okay. That means to turn on the thyristor, we required gate supply, but we cannot able to turn off the thyristor with the help of gate supply. To turn off it, either you have to reduce the anode current below the holding current, okay. I will discuss the turn on methods for thyristor. There are 5 methods to turn on. First one is thermal run on or high temperature triggering. Second one light triggering, high voltage triggering, dV by dt triggering, and final one is gate triggering. First one, thermal run on or high temperature. We all aware that when temperature increases, depletion region decreases. Which means if your semiconductor devices temperature increases, the depletion layer is starts decreasing. Therefore, in SCR, when VAK, that is voltage between anode and cathode, is very near to breakdown voltage. So after this voltage, breakdown may occur. So at this condition, the junction temperature is very high. So because of this high temperature, the depletion layer in the junction J2 will vanishes and starts conduction. So this type of turn on process is called as a thermal run or a high temperature. Most probably will not turn the thyristor by using this method. And second one, light triggered SCR. This kind of light triggering is achieved only in light triggered SCR. So simply light activated laser, light activated SCR. It has the special terminal through which light can be strike the junction J2 and starts conduction. So you cannot apply this light triggering for all kind of SCRs. The third one, high voltage triggering. When voltage between anode and cathode, that is VAK, is increased to very high voltage, in junction J2, avalanche breakdown occurs as like PN junction diode and starts conduction. This is the destructive phenomenon and should be avoided. And fourth one, dV by dt triggering. When the device is forward biased, J1 and J3 are forward biased condition and J2 is reverse bias condition. Due to the reverse bias condition, there will be a depletion region in the J2. This J2, junction J2 behaves as a capacitor So we know that charge in the capacitor is equal to CV, that is capacitance into applied voltage, and the charge capacitor current is equal to change in charge with respect to time. So if we substitute Q in this equation, we will get this by applying a UV method. We will differentiate this one. So since capacitance is a constant, so if you differentiate constant, you will get 0, and simply IC is equal to C, because it is a constant value, and dV by dt. Therefore, if change in voltage, if you are applying certain raise in voltage or certain dip in voltage, that is change in voltage is rapid, your IC, that is capacitance current, will be very high. Therefore, this capacitance current may turn on your thyristor. So it should be avoided. So it leads to false triggering of your thyristor. The manufacturer will specify the allowable change in voltage to avoid this kind of false triggering. The last one, Gate triggering. This is the most widely used SCR triggering method. Applying a positive voltage between gate and cathode can turn on a forward bias thyristor. So as I said earlier, when positive voltage is applied at the gate terminal, charge carriers are injected into the P layer and vanishes the depletion region. So as we saw in the VI characteristics, if your gate supply is more number of carrier will be injected, therefore we can turn on the thyristor rapidly. Okay. Next, switching characteristics or dynamic characteristics. So in this characteristics we will discuss the turn on time and turn off time. The top one shows the change in applied voltage. This one, change in applied voltage with respect to time. Then this middle one shows the change in anode current with respect to time. And final one is the power loss. So as shown here, so turn on time, it is comprises of TD, that is delay time, TR, raise time, then TP, spread time. Usually delay time is time taken by thyristor to achieve 0.1 times of anode current from that forward leakage current to 0.1 times of full load anode current, that is 10% of full load current. That is called delay time. The time taken by the thyristor to increase from 10% to 90%, that is raise time. Then again from 90% to full load anode current, that is spread time. So similarly that delay time is started when your gate supplies reaches 90% of your full load gate current. Similarly, you can say for voltage also. So it is self-explanatory in this diagram. So as I said earlier, once thyristor is turned on, it loses its control. So if you want to turn off the thyristor, only way is you have to reduce the anode current from its full load value to below the holding current or 0. So here device's anode current is reduced from full load, that is 100% to 0. During turn off, we have two split ups, that is TRR, reverse recovery time, and gate recovery time, TRR and TGR. During reverse recovery time, it will remove the charge carriers from junction J1 and J2. And during TGR, gate recovery time, it recovers trapped charges from J2. So next is application. So its application is very vast. Wherever the power electronic converters such as rectifier, inverter, choker or cycloconverters are used, there definitely you have to use this kind of switches. Thyristors plays a major role in these converters, and also HVDC power transmission. Okay, thank you for watching.